Part 2, The Awakening. Consciousness returns slowly, like wading through molasses. For a moment, I'm certain I'm dead. The absence of pain, of sensation, seems to confirm this. But then awareness creeps in, and with it comes a dawning horror. My eyes snap open, and I find myself standing upright on cracked pavement. The car is gone. The road is gone. In their place is a cityscape that defies comprehension. Buildings loom overhead, their facades crumbling and decrepit. Windows gape like empty eye sockets, reflecting nothing. The sky above is a sickly, greenish gray. No sun or moon in sight. An oppressive silence hangs in the air, broken only by the sound of my own ragged breathing. "Hello?" I call out, my voice echoing off decaying walls. No answer comes, save for the mocking repetition of my own plea. I take a tentative step forward, and the ground shifts beneath my feet. Looking down, I see my reflection in a puddle of stagnant water, but it's wrong. The face staring back at me is older, harder, with eyes that have seen too much. Lines of cruelty and ambition are etched around my mouth. Is this me? A chill runs down my spine as I realize I can't remember my name. I know I should know it, can feel it dancing just out of reach in my mind, but it refuses to come. I start walking, each step feeling like I'm moving through invisible treacle. The air is thick, resistant, as if the very atmosphere of this place is trying to impede my progress. Time doesn't flow right here. Sometimes a blink lasts an eternity. Sometimes an hour passes in the span of a heartbeat. As I wander the empty streets, flashes of memory assault me. A courtroom, standing tall as the judge reads out a not guilty verdict. The relief on my client's face, the outrage from the victim's family, the weight of the bribe money in my briefcase heavy with guilt. A city council meeting, my impassioned speech swaying votes. We must prioritize growth and development. The faces of those who would be displaced by my proposed project blur together in a sea of irrelevance. A mirror in a lavish bathroom adjusting my perfectly tailored suit. "You're Sarah fucking Thorne," I whisper to my reflection. "And you're unstoppable." Sarah. The name sits uneasily in my mind now, like an ill-fitting garment. Is this truly who I am? Was I always this person? I round a corner and find myself in what must have once been a park. Withered trees reach skeletal branches towards the colorless sky. A rusted playground stands silent sentinel over the desolation. In the center, a dried-up fountain holds stagnant water, its surface an oily black. Drawn by a morbid curiosity, I approach the fountain. As I peer into its depths, the liquid begins to swirl, forming images. A young girl, wide-eyed and ambitious, swearing to make something of herself no matter the cost. A law student, burning the midnight oil, driven by a hunger for success that overshadows everything else. A rising star in the political arena, shaking hands and making deals, each compromise chipping away at whatever ideals I might once have had. The woman I became, hard-edged and ruthless, trampling over anyone who stood in my way. I recoil from the fountain, bile rising in my throat. Is this what my life amounted to? A series of selfish choices, each one leading me further from the person I could have been. A sound cuts through my self-recrimination, a low, guttural growl that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I spin around, heart pounding, searching for the source. There, at the edge of the park, a figure stands, motionless. Tall and slender, its form seems to shift and waver, as if it's not quite solid. No features are discernible, just a vague humanoid shape wreathed in shadows. But its eyes burn with an otherworldly light that I recognize from my final moments in the car. My heart pounds in my chest as I take an involuntary step backward. The figure mirrors my movement, gliding forward with impossible grace. Run! The command echoes in my mind, and I obey without question. I turn and flee, my feet pounding against the cracked pavement. Buildings blur past me as I race through the abandoned city, taking random turns in a desperate attempt to lose my pursuer. I dare a glance over my shoulder and immediately wish I hadn't. The figure is closer now, its form becoming more defined with each passing moment. I catch a glimpse of reaching hands, long fingers grasping at the air, before I force myself to look ahead. As I run, the world around me seems to twist and warp. Buildings stretch impossibly tall. Streets curve in ways that defy geometry. Reality itself seems as fluid and unstable as my own fragmented memories. I turn down an alley, hoping to lose my pursuer in the maze-like passages. For a moment, I think I've succeeded. The oppressive silence returns, broken only by my ragged breathing. I lean against a graffiti-covered wall, trying to catch my breath.
"Oh, Sarah,"
a voice whispers, seeming to come from everywhere at once.
did you really think you could escape me?
I freeze, my blood turning to ice in my veins. Slowly, I turn to face the entrance of the alley. The figure stands there, more solid now, but still shrouded in an otherworldly aura. Its face is a void, a black hole that threatens to draw me in. What are you? I manage to choke out. A low chuckle emanates from the being, the sound grating against my very soul.
You know who I am, Sarah. You've been running from me your entire life.
As the figure takes a step towards me, I realize, with dawning horror, that it's right. I have been running from consequences, from responsibility, from the truth of who I am. And now, in this purgatorial nightmare, there's nowhere left to run. The reckoning I've been avoiding for so long has finally caught up with me. And I am not prepared.